What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here. Today we're going to be comparing two of the best budget pistols on the market. We're going to compare the Canik Elite SC to the Taurus G2C. Now before I do that, I want to thank my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. As always, because you help keep the channel alive, and because of that, we try to give back and do Patreon exclusive content. On top of that, I bounce video ideas off you, and I get to all your questions. So if you're a Patreon supporter, you have a gun question, feel free to direct message me. Also want to mention a local shelter in my area. It's a youth shelter down there in Ames, Iowa. I really like to support them, so I leave a link in the description below. All you got to do is go down there, click that link, and donate to those kids. The link to Patreon is also down there, along with a link to my Instagram. Feel free to go over there and join if you want to see some of these cool guns before they hit the reviewing table. These have been on several of my top 5 lists. I have reviewed both of these guns favorably, and honestly, over the course of my pursuit to find the best budget guns on the market, these two really stand out to me. The G3 also, which is basically just a longer barrel version of this, and we're going to have the G2C coming up here pretty soon. But I've got these two right now in my hand, and a lot of people ask me which one of these they should get. So today, we're going to kind of compare and contrast. Now, before we do that, I want to mention that they are both in different tiers as far as price goes, but still very similar. Modern day right now, as of 2020, both of these guns have gone up in price just a little bit. So this one's running right around $250 to $300, the Taurus G2C, and the Canik TP9 Elite SC, the subcompact version of the Elite series, is running right around $400. This used to be around $300, and this used to be around $200, but the political climate as it is, prices go up. What can I tell you? We'll talk about the SC Elite here first. It is a double stack 9mm subcompact with a striker fire design and a pretty great trigger that comes with lots of features for the money. It has a two-tone finish, comes with 2 magazines, a 12 and a 15 rounder. They also come with 10 round magazines if you're behind enemy lines. It has a 3.6-inch 9mm barrel, which is great for concealment. It's pretty good as an overall gun, considering it weighs 24 ounces, so it makes it very light for the size that it is. It comes with 2 back straps, glow-in-the-dark night sights, optics ready mount for different kinds of optics, which is pretty cool. Ambi controls, front slide serrations, a loaded chamber indicator, a match-grade nitride-coated barrel, a Picatinny rail with a thumb ramp, and it comes with a holster. Not to mention, it can use the much larger 21-round Canik magazines if you happen to have that gun, or if you just go out and buy those magazines. The Taurus G2C, on the other hand, is a 9mm pistol, which is a polymer frame striker fire, just like the Canik. It comes with a 3.2-inch barrel, so a little bit smaller, and it has a 12-round capacity. It comes with standard 3-dot white sights and a weight of around 22 ounces, making it a little bit smaller and lighter, however, pretty similar overall. Both of these guns, I would say, would be used for concealed carry. That's what they're designed for, and that's what its best use is. However, they're just big enough to flex into a home defense category as well, which is why I think they're two of the best budget guns on the market, because you could buy one of these guns and use it for pretty much every use that you would need a pistol for. And I think when people are looking for a gun at this price tier, they're really only probably going to buy 1, maybe 2 or 3, so they want a gun that can do everything for them, in which case both of these can do it. Another reason why I consider these two to be very good budget guns is because they're also very reliable. Both of these guns are. The G2C went 1,000 rounds with 0 failures, no break-in period required. That's extremely impressive for a $200 gun. The Canik TP9 SC, this guy went, I believe it went 1,000 rounds without a failure as well. If not, maybe it had 1, but I don't actually think so. I think the SC went 1,000 rounds without a failure. It was the compact that actually had some issues. So overall, both of these guns are extremely reliable. Accuracy is where these guns are going to separate just a little bit. If you want the most accurate gun between these two, you're going to be looking at the Canik right here. The Canik is not only one of the most accurate pistols on the table, but it's one of the most accurate budget pistols made. Honestly, it's very impressive. The Canik comes with an extremely good trigger, which aids in accuracy. If you have trouble getting accuracy, first of all, you need to do some training. Training covers more than any firearm ever will. However, you're going to be able to get a little bit better accurate shots with a little bit lighter, crisper trigger, and the Canik, for the money, comes with probably the best trigger on the market, honestly. I mean, you can get a better one, but you have to buy a 1911 or a CZ and get it tuned up. The Canik trigger, right out of the box for a striker fired trigger, is extremely impressive. On top of that, comes with some pretty impressive sights as well. These are Warren Tactical sights with a blacked out rear and a glow-in-the-dark front here. They're not night sights like tritium night sights, but they will gather light and glow for a while, kind of like the HK VP9. I know it's not as good, but it's certainly better than the white dot sights on the Taurus. And since the Canik trigger is actually better than the Taurus as well, along with having a fairly match-grade barrel, the accuracy out of the Canik, really for the price, is unparalleled. So we got the Canik TP9 SC out here at 50 yards, and we're going to shoot our last 10 rounds, and hopefully we'll be able to hit something. This thing shoots really flat. On top of that, it also shoots a little smoother as well. The recoil impulse is a little bit lighter on the Canik than it is the Taurus. However, both of them can shoot very quickly. And now I didn't cover the accuracy on the Taurus quite as much, but the accuracy on the Taurus for a $200 pistol, again, really isn't bad. It's not like I'm just crapping on the Taurus over here. Honestly, for a $200 pistol, the trigger is pretty good. One of the benefits of the G2C is it does have the trigger that has the double strike capability. So instead of racking the gun over and over to dry fire practice, you could simply continue to dry fire practice over and over and over. And I really stress dry fire practice in a safe direction, using a snap cack, make sure there's no ammunition around you. But dry fire practice, I'm telling you, is the way to be a better shooter. You have to make sure to go to the range every so often and make sure what you're doing is right. But everybody talks about how they don't have enough ammunition to become a good shot. I would say the vast majority of my training is simply dry fire practice in the basement. I aim at a light switch, or I put up a couple of IPSC targets on the wall, and I just go through magazine changes, malfunction drills, and target transitions, draws, all that stuff. You can do all that stuff with no ammo whatsoever, and then you'll be better prepared for when live fire actually happens. So the Taurus G2C is a little bit better to dry fire, and the trigger is certainly not bad at the $200 price point. However, if you're going to compare them as far as accuracy goes, the Canik is definitely the winner. So now we got the Taurus G2C out here, and we'll see how it does at 50 yards. Not too bad. Now we'll get into features and ergonomics. So let's look at the Taurus G2C first, and let's see what kind of features it comes with. First off, it has a manual safety. The Canik does not. So if you're into a manual safety and that is required for you to kit a carry gun, I would recommend the G2C, even though it is kind of out of the way. It's not like a 1911 or a CZ. I've actually seen safeties done worse than this, and considering the price point, again, the safety is really easy to use. Personally, during my testing, I completely ignored it. However, it's really easy to use. So if you want a manual safety, what you want is something built into the battery of arms, like a 1911, for example. So when you draw the pistol, your thumb immediately presses down on the thumb safety right away as a ledge anyway, so it helps you with recoil control. On top of that, if you sear that into your brain, you will never not engage the manual safety. That's extremely important. A manual safety seems good until it's on and you're pulling the trigger and it doesn't work. So remember to always build that into your manual of arms if you're going to do so. The slide release works pretty well as well. You can see right there, easy to hit. The texture on the G2C is very nice. The mag release works really well. The trigger undercut is done pretty well also. It has a little bit smaller rail than the Canik. However, the smaller lights from Streamlight and stuff like that that are meant for the carry guns will work on this. I don't have any lights here that will work on this small of a pistol. However, there are weapon lights out there. If you want to carry this and tuck this into your waistband with or without a light, you can come home, snap one of those on, and use it as a pretty decent home defense gun, considering the gun holds 12 rounds in the magazine and a reload's just a second away. The takedown is very similar to a Glock. I personally don't like that because I've had experience with gauntlet testing and stuff with Glocks, and you can get sand and dirt in these takedown levers, and it's impossible to take your gun apart, and then essentially your gun is dead. You can't strip it and dump a bunch of sand and dirt out. It does not have front slide serrations. However, you can do press checks on it if you choose to, although you don't have very much room there, so don't look all tactical and blow your thumb off. Be careful with that. The plastic adjustable 3-dot sights are not great. Don't get me wrong. However, for a $200 pistol, they're not that bad either. I've seen a lot worse sights on a lot more expensive guns. So overall, the ergonomics on the G2C are not bad. In fact, it's a little bit smaller than the Canik, so I think overall you'll find this pistol to be more comfortable to actually carry. Now we'll get into the Canik here, and this bad boy is loaded with features. So let's get right into it with the 15-round magazine that you can put in there if you want, or you can rock the 12-round magazine as well. You could probably carry it like this, that way you print a little bit less, and then you can carry this as your spare magazine, and then pop that out and reload it if you need to. Magazine release is checkered and works really well. The slide release, or slide stop, however you want to say it, is ambi, so if you're a lefty, no problem there. I also believe the magazine release is swappable, so this is gonna be significantly better overall as a lefty gun. The slide serrations are usable, more usable than the Taurus. The tack rail is more usable than the Taurus. The trigger undercut is better than the Taurus also. You can see it's wider there, so it doesn't hurt your knuckle quite as much after a long day of shooting. I would argue that the texture is better on the Taurus than it is on the Canik. However, you could stipple this if you had the time and know-how, and it wouldn't be that difficult, or you could throw a set of Talon grips on there and cover that up. I like the little addition of the stippled thumb ramp. I'm a big fan of that, and I also like the look of the Canik. It has a tungsten Cerakote on top of the slide with a black lower, and on top of that it has a little red trigger safety in there to give the gun a little extra flair that the Taurus just simply does not have. On the sights, it also has a notch on the rear sight there, so if you are only using this one-handed and you have to manipulate the gun, I would really suggest getting a sight with a notch on it, especially for you people who carry without a round in the chamber. I would not suggest that. A large portion of malfunctions in concealed carry situations happen by a person trying to rack around in the chamber before they have to use the gun. However, if you are staunch on that and you don't carry a round in the firearm, really the only way to put a round in the firearm one-handed is with a notch on your slide that you can run off your belt or your boot or something in the area. So if you're one of those guys, I talked to you the other night on YouTube comments. If you're a guy like that, make sure that you run a notch on your sight here. And honestly, this one's a really good one because it's serrated on the inside as well, and it can catch really well. It also has an optics mounting system. However, it can only take a few different optics mounts. I think one of them is the shield sight because it's a little bit smaller. However, that does give it a big advantage over the Taurus again, especially if you plan on running a red dot. You can do that right out of the box with the Canik. So overall, you have to pay $100 more or so for the Canik. However, you can see that the features add up to be even more value, in my opinion, than the Taurus. Now we'll get into aftermarket accessories here real quick. So I think there's honestly a little bit more accessories available for the Canik, and I think actually the Canik series, or at least the Elite series, is a little bit more successful as far as the market goes, and that usually breeds more accessories. The more the gun sells overall, the more accessories there's going to be. Makes sense, right? So I think that if you're looking for holsters and you're looking for different sights and trigger options and things like that, you're going to be better off going with the Canik. However, some are available for the Taurus, including some threaded barrels, some night sights, some fiber optic sights, and some extra magazines and some holsters as well. But overall, I think for a $220 gun, $220 to $300, the Taurus is an excellent pistol. The G2C is one of the best budget pistols on the market, bar none. And if you have to spend less than $300, I would suggest you look at either this or the Taurus G3. I think they're the two best pistols under $300 on the market, new. Used, you might be able to get into a Gen 3, Gen 2 Glock, something like that, or maybe an MP first gen. But as far as new pistols go, between $200 and $300, the G2C is the best on the market. However, if you had a choice between these two pistols, I would recommend the Canik. I really would. If I had to pick between these two pistols to carry, I would definitely pick the Canik, hands down. Better sights, better trigger, easier to put rounds on target, just as reliable. It's a little bit bigger for my gorilla hands here, which I like as well. It actually has a little bit thicker grip than traditional for a smaller frame pistol, which is another reason why I think I shoot it so well. The controls are extremely easy to use. The magazine release is easy to get to, slide release is easy to get to, and the gun is just fast and accurate. And on top of that, it looks pretty nice as well. So for a gun under $400, that you want to carry and use as a home defense gun, all-around pistol, man, it's hard to beat the Canik TP9 SC. In all fairness, it might be the best budget pistol on the market. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to tune in, next week I think I should have the Taurus G2C, which is the new updated model of the G2C. So maybe we'll end up doing a comparison between that and the Canik as well. If you want to see that video, let me know in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.